dream of a pianist. When I was a boy, I had a dream. I wanted to play the piano. I wanted to make music. I wanted to feel the keys under my fingers. But I lived in a small town. There were no pianos in my house. There were no music schools. There were no teachers. I only heard music on the radio. I listened to it every day. I closed my eyes and imagined playing. I imagined my hands moving over the keys. I imagined the sound filling the room. But it was only a dream. One day, I saw a piano. It was in a shop window. It was big and black. It was beautiful. The sun shone on it, and it looked like gold. I stood there for a long time. I want to touch IE, want to play one note. But I had no money. I knew my family could not buy it. My father worked hard, but we were not rich. A piano was too expensive. I walked away, but I did not forget it. I thought about it every night. I dreamed about it. At school, I talked about music. My friends did not understand. They liked sports. They liked running and playing outside. They talked about games and races, but I talked about music. I talked about pianos and songs. They laughed at me. Why do you like music so much? They asked. I did not know what to say. I only knew that music made me happy, but I felt alone with my dream. Then something happened. One evening I walked home after school. The air was cool and the sky was orange. Suddenly, I heard music. It came from a small house. The window was open. The sound was soft and beautiful. My heart beat fast. I stopped and listened. Someone was playing the piano. The music was slow and sweet. It filled the air like magic. I walked closer. I looked inside. An old man was sitting at the piano. His fingers moved on the keys. His face was calm. He looked happy. He looked peaceful. I wanted to talk to him, but I was afraid. I was just a boy. He was a stranger. I stood there listening until the music stopped. Then the man turned and saw me. He smiled. My heart jumped. I wanted to run, but I stayed. He opened the door. "Do you like music?" he asked. His voice was kind. I nodded. My voice was small. "Yes," I said. He looked at me for a moment. Then he said, "Come in." I stood at the door. My heart was beating fast. I had never been inside a house like this. The man smiled and moved to the side. "Come in," he said again. I took a small step, then another. The room was warm and quiet. The piano was in the center. It was old, but it was beautiful. The black and white keys looked smooth. The wood was dark and shiny. The air smelled like books and tea. I looked around. There were pictures on the walls. There were books on the shelves. It was not a big house, but it felt special. The man sat down at the piano again. "Do you want to try?" he asked. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. "Try me." I had never touched a piano before. I wanted to say yes, but I was afraid. What if I made a mistake? What if I sounded bad? The man saw my face and smiled. "Come," he said. He patted the seat next to him. Slowly, I walked to the piano. I sat down beside him. My hands were shaking. He pressed a key. A soft sound came out. Then he pressed another key. "Now you try," he said. I took a deep breath. I lifted my hand. My fingers touched the key. A note filled the air. It was just one note, but to me it was magic. I pressed another key, then another. The sounds were small, but they were real. I looked at the man. He was watching me. His eyes were kind. Good, he said. Music is inside you. You just need to find it. I did not understand his words, but they made me feel warm inside. He started to play again. His hands moved easily. The music was slow and sweet. It filled the small house. I watched his fingers. They looked so light, like they were dancing. I wanted to play like that. I wanted my fingers to dance too. He stopped and looked at me. Do you want to learn? He asked. I felt something strong inside me. A dream, a wish of fire. I nodded. Yes, I said. My voice was louder. Now he smiled. Then come back tomorrow, he said. I could not believe it. Someone wanted to teach me. Someone wanted to help me play. I left the house that night with a new feeling. It was hope. That night I could not sleep. I lay in bed thinking about the piano. I thought about the old man's hands moving over the keys. I thought about the soft, beautiful sounds filling the small house. I had touched a piano for the first time. I had played a note. It was only one note, but it felt special. It felt like the beginning of something new. My heart was full of excitement. I wanted the night to pass quickly. I wanted to go back. The next day, I ran to his house. The sun was bright and the air was fresh. I stopped at the door and knocked. My hand was shaking. I was afraid he would change his mind. Maybe he did not want to teach me. Maybe he was only being kind, but then the door opened. The old man smiled. You came, he said. I nodded. He stepped aside and I walked in. The piano was waiting. He sat down and showed me the keys. These are the notes, he said. He pressed one key, then another. Each note has a name. Each sound is different. I watched closely. I listened carefully. He played a simple tune, just a few notes. Then he looked at me. Now you try. I took a deep breath. I put my fingers on the keys. Slowly, I pressed them one by one. The sounds were not perfect, but they were real. I was playing. He nodded. Good, he said. Music not just notes. It is feeling. It is emotion. I did not understand everything, he said, but I wanted to learn. I wanted to understand. He gave me small exercises. He told me to practice. Come every day, he said. If you want to play, you must practice. I promised I would. Every afternoon, I went to his house. Every day, I sat at the piano. My fingers were slow, but they got stronger. My hands were small, but they learned to move. The old man was patient. He watched mesh corrected me. He never got angry. He never said I was bad. He only told me to try again. Weeks passed. My music became better. My fingers became faster. I learned small songs. They were simple, but they made me happy. I played them again and again. Each time, I felt a little closer to my dream. Each time, I felt a little more like a pianist. The piano became my world. Every day after school, I ran to the old man's house. The moment I touched the keys, I felt happy. I forgot everything else. I forgot about school, about my friends who did not understand about the small town where no one played music. When I played, I was in another place, a place where only music mattered. The old man watched me with kind eyes. He corrected my mistakes. He showed me how to move my hands. He taught me how to listen, not just to the notes, but to the feeling inside them. At first, my fingers were slow. Sometimes I played the wrong notes. Sometimes I got frustrated, but the old man always smiled. Do not stop, he said. Every mistake teaches you something. So I kept going. I played the same songs again and again. My hands became stronger. My fingers moved faster. The music started to sound better. One day I played a full song without stopping. It was simple, but when I finished, I looked at the old man. He nodded. Good, he said. I felt proud. As the days passed, I learned more. The old man gave me new songs, harder ones. I practiced every evening until my hands hurt, but I did not care. I wanted to get better. I want to play like him. I want to make music that touched people's hearts. My family did not understand why I spent so much time at the piano. You should play outside, my father said. You should do something useful. But I did not stop. I could not stop. Music was inside me now. One evening, the old man asked me to close my eyes. Feel the music, he said. Do not just play the notes. Let them tell a story. I closed my eyes. I let my fingers move. I let the sounds fill the room. For the first time, I did not just play. I felt the music was soft. It was warm. It was like a dream. When I opened my eyes, the old man was smiling. Now, he said, you're truly playing. That night, I walked home with a new feeling. It was different from excitement. It was different from happiness. It was something deeper. It was love. Love for music, love for the piano. I knew then that this was not just a hobby. This was my dream. This was my life. The weeks turned into months. Every day, I sat at the piano. My fingers moved faster. My hands felt stronger. The songs became more difficult. But I did not stop. I played each note with care. I listened to every sound. I wanted to be better. I wanted to play like the old man. He watched me with patient eyes. He guided me when I made mistakes. He told me stories about music, about great pianists, about the power of song. I listened to every word. I wanted to learn everything. One afternoon, he gave me a new piece of music. It was harder than anything I had played before. The notes were fast. The rhythm was tricky. I looked at the page and felt nervous. I can't do this, I said. The old man shook his head. Yes, you can, he said. You must believe in yourself. I took a deep breath. I placed my hands on the keys. I started to play. At first, I was slow. My fingers hesitated. I made mistakes, but I did not stop. I played again and again. Days passed. I practiced every moment I could. At home, I tapped my fingers on the table, pretending it was a piano. At school, I thought about the notes. At night, I dreamed of playing perfectly. My hands ached, but I did not care. The music was inside me now. I could not let it go. The old man saw my effort. Music is not just skill, he said. It is passion. You have that passion. His words filled me with warmth. Then one evening, something changed. I sat at the piano. I placed my fingers on the keys. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath and then I played. The notes flowed smoothly. The melody filled the room. My hands moved without fear. I did not think about the notes. I did not think about mistakes. I only felt the music. It was a part of me. When I finished, I looked up. The old man was smiling. Now, he said, you are truly a pianist. I felt something deep inside. It was joy. It was pride. It was the feeling of a dream coming true. I had started as a boy with a wish. Now I was something more. I was a musician. I was a pianist, and I knew in that moment that I would play for the rest of my life. Time passed, and I kept playing. Every day, my fingers moved faster. My hands felt stronger. The piano was no longer just an instrument. It was a part of me. The old man watched me with proud eyes. He did not need to say much. I could see his happiness. He had taught me everything he knew. Now it was my turn to grow, my turn to take the music further. One evening, he asked me to play for him. Play from your heart, he said. I sat at the piano. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath, and then I played. The music filled the room. It was soft. It was powerful. It was everything I had learned. My fingers moved without fear. The notes came alive. I was not just pressing keys. I was telling a story. I was speaking through the music. When I finished, the room was silent. The old man nodded. You are ready, he said. I looked at him confused. Ready for what? I asked. He smiled to share your music with the world. His words stayed in my mind. I had always played for myself, for my love of music. But now I understood. Music was not just for me. It was for others too. I decided to play for people. The first time I was nervous. My hands trembled. My heart raced. But then I remembered the old man's words. Play from your heart. I placed my fingers on the keys. I let the music flow. The fear disappeared. The notes filled the room. People listened. They smiled. Some closed their eyes. Some wiped away tears. I realized then music could touch hearts. Music could bring people together. Years later, I still play. I play on big stages. I play for large crowds. But every time I sit at the piano, I remember the small house. I remember the old man. I remember the first note I ever played. My journey started with a dream, a small dream in a small town. But dreams grow, dreams become real. And now when I play, I know I'm living my dream. I am a pianist.